I'm Ron Jasher with Acoustic Guitar, and in today's basics lesson we're going to talk about preventing unwanted string noise. Now every guitarist has to deal with this at some point, and we're going to tackle this head on. I've been working on trying to prevent string noise, especially on acoustic guitar, for years, and I'm still working on it. Now here's the problem. You experience a lot of unwanted string noise. Like a lot of times you'll be hearing the scraping sound like this, or open strings flying when you're playing a chord, unwanted string noise like that, or noise with your pick sometimes. Now the solution is that you're going to make some subtle adjustments to your technique, modifications that will minimize string noise while helping you play more cleanly in general. You can also consider different strings as well. Now we're going to talk about 4 ways to silence your strings. 1. Practice muting unplayed strings on basic open and bar chords, okay? Basic open string chords and bar chords. Now we're going to try this first example here. It's a 1-4-2-5 progression in the key of C. Okay, which is a C, F, D minor, and G7 progression. In example 1, containing a bunch of unplayed strings. Now when you play the C chord, you're gonna actually mute the 5th string like this. And one way you can do that is by touching your thumb against the 6th string, okay? So you're actually muting just 1 string on the C chord in this example. Now when you get to the F chord, in example number 1, you're going to actually mute 2 strings, which is the 5th and 6th strings. One way I do that is actually stopping my thumb over the 6th string and touching that thumb on the 5th string as well, and touching slightly with my 3rd finger to stop the 5th string. Well, another option is to actually just pick those 4 strings. Now with the D minor, you have to prevent the 5th and 6th strings from ringing open. So you can stop that with your thumb too, on your left hand. Actually on your picking hand, your fretting hand if you're left-handed, okay? So depending. On the G7, you have no problem. You have to hit all 6 strings, okay? So 1, use any free finger that's not fretting a note, including your thumb, to stop the sound of the strings. 2, you can also hit only the intended strings with your pick or fingers. And you could either use a combination of these 2 approaches. So let's play example number 1. 1, 2, 3, 4. What's really important about unwanted string noise as well is when you're actually recording in the studio. In a recording studio, you hear everything. All your mistakes, everything you can hear clearly, and you have to clean it up or try to play it as best you can, okay? Now certain chords have strings in between, fretted notes that require muting. To play the C chord in example 2, measure 1, beat 1, you'll need to mute the 1st string with the side of your 1st finger of your fretting hand and touching your 3rd finger on the 6th string to mute that. So that C chord looks like this. So you're playing the C chord in between, in the 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and 5th string while you're muting the 1st string and the 6th string. So it'll sound like this. You hear that? So you have to really block those strings out, okay? Now on the second C chord on the third beat in that measure of example number 2, beat 3, you're gonna mute the 6th string. You can see you're gonna touch the side of your first finger to play that chord, okay? You're gonna touch the side of your first finger against the 6th string. Then you're gonna come back to the same C chord. Now with the last chord on the second measure, on beat 3, you're gonna actually play a G chord, a C chord with a G in the bass. Then you're gonna have to mute the first string from ringing and the 5th string, so it would sound like this. Now I'm actually muting with my fretting hand, my left hand in my case. Or you could actually touch that first string with like one of your free fingers of your picking hand and mute that string too as well, okay? Example number 2. 1, 2, 3, 4. So in example number 3, the first chord is an F major 7, this voicing like this, and one way to stop that is to touch your second finger that's not being used and stopping the 5th and 6th string. Okay, that's the easiest because putting your thumb around the neck would be too difficult to actually bar that chord or play the 4th string F with your first finger. Look, you just hit those 4 notes. That's as simple as that, okay, with using your pick. Now when I'm playing the next chord in the first bar of example number 3, on beat 3, you're actually playing a C note in between the 4th and 6th strings while you're playing the first 3 strings with your 3rd finger. So you're gonna have to mute the 6th string and the 4th string at the same time. Now if you go across the 6th string and you play F major 7 over G, you're gonna have to mute the 4th and 5th string. So you have all these mutes now, for example number 3, to stop unwanted string noise. So let me play example number 3. Here we go. Example number 3. 1, 2, 3, 4. Example number 4 contains an F major 7 and a G major 7 chord. The former is a good example of a chord with both open and interior unplayed strings. To mute the 5th string, you touch it lightly with your fret hand's first finger, making sure not to silence the open first string of that chord with the side of your fretting hand. It would be like this. A good thing to do also, if you want to make sure your notes are muted, is to play each note individually. Hear that muted 5th string there? When you play the whole chord, you'll be completely masked. okay? Then on the G major 7 chord, you use your muting techniques to silence the 1st and 5th string like this. So those are muted. Example number 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So that was one way to silence unwanted string noise in open strings and muted strings, okay? So the second way is practicing muted single note patterns, or single notes actually. So whenever you're playing one note, you gotta, even if you're taking like a guitar solo, you gotta learn how to stop the strings with your left and right hand. When I'm actually playing like a single line solo, I'm actually using muting with my palm of my picking hand and stopping the strings with my fretting hand. A combination of both. The same kind of techniques actually. Now, example number 5 is an A minor pentatonic scale, which most guitarists know, which looks like this. Across the fingerboard on the 5th position, okay? A, C, D, E, G. Now throughout this example, we're gonna work on muting the 5 strings that you're not playing. While playing each note, you find an available finger, including your thumb, that's not being fretted, and you're gonna have to stop any string that's not being fretted, okay? So like if I play the 6th string A right here, I'm gonna actually attempt to hit all 6 strings and mute those strings. It's a really good exercise. See that? Now you could use a combination of hitting all 6 strings and then stopping the rest of the strings with your left hand, and also picking just enough so you don't hit the other string, etc. Okay? It's a really great exercise for muting, this exercise. Now when you get toward the 1st string, it's going to be harder because you're going to have to use your thumb to stop the strings as well. Now this is really great for your acoustic funk chops as well, okay? Example number 5. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Now we can do some lifting as a third way to silence your strings. Your fret hand can make a lot of noise when shifting between chords and notes. You can cut the noise down by lifting the hand slightly off the strings when doing so. Like let's say I play a C chord, C bar chord, 3rd position, 5th string root, and I want to switch up to the F. Now I can slide into it. You hear the slide? The string noise right in between. I could stop that by slightly lifting up to get to that F chord. You gotta do it subtly so you don't cut the rhythm of the note, the chord off too soon. That's the hard part. So usually, people like this noise too, but if you want to cut it off, you can do that, okay? Now in example number 6, we're going to take a C major scale, C, D, E, F, G, A, B, up to C, that's played in 6ths, okay? that means 6 notes apart. So if I'm playing from the C, it'd be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So it'd be C to A. But we're gonna actually start on this G note in the key of C, okay? Note that each pair of notes has an unplayed string in the middle. The trick is to work on muting the string while you're also lifting your fingers between the sixths, okay? So let's play through example number 6. When you get to bar 1 on the 3rd beat, which is a D and B open, you could also fret those if you'd like. Also on bar 2 of example number 6, on the last beat, on the and of 4, which is the last 2 notes on that chord of that exercise, in that measure is a G and E open. You could also fret those notes too as 2 different possibilities. Otherwise, you're going to have to play the strings like this, hybrid picking or finger picking, to play those notes clearly, because the string in between is too difficult to play open, okay? So let's play example number 6, nice and slow. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and... Example number 7 shows a full 6-string rooted bar chord played up the neck, 1 fret at a time. Remember to lift the grip slightly when moving between the chords and continue the pattern as high as you can go on the guitar neck, okay? So the trick is, don't make that noise. You want to try to do this. Okay, so here's example number 7. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's as far as I'll go. Now, example number 8. We're going to do some more lifting and context. It shows a 1 minor, 7, 6, 7 progression, which is A minor, G, F, and G. And this progression is actually found in many pop and rock songs. This chord progression. There's a lot of songs written with this progression, okay? So what you're going to try to do now is do the same thing, but this time you're going to have to jump 2 frets between the chords, and you have a potential of a lot more string noise. Because look, listen to this. Hear that? So you're going to have to jump between these chords and try to avoid that string noise. So let's try this together. Example number 8. 1, 2, 3, 4. Example number 9 is a 1 minor, 4 minor, 3, 5 progression in C minor, which is actually C minor, F minor, E flat, and G7. And you're going to use these voicings. You're going to jump all the way up from the 3rd fret or 3rd position, C minor 5th string root, to the F minor 6th string root, then E flat 6th position root, 5th string root chord to a G7 6th string root. Okay? And your trick is not to make any string noise in between. you don't want to do this. Like that? You see that? You hear that scratching, okay? So you have to make sure that you play this example without disrupting the rhythm and not making any string noise, okay? Example number 9. 1, 2, 3, 4. So number 4, you experiment with your equipment. Certain strings are prone to squeaking than others, okay? So if you're still experiencing too much string noise after attempting to address it with guitar technique, try throwing on some different strings. They actually have flatted strings, the ground strings that stop the sound of unwanted string noise. They actually grind the strings down on the sides. They're called flat wounds and half round strings. The only problem is when you cut the binding on the string on the side, it makes the string less bright. It sounds more dead, the string. But a lot of jazz guitar players use that, for example. And I actually, on my acoustic guitars, I use strings from Tomastic, and that are half round acoustic strings, okay? And flat wound acoustic steel strings. Now you could also try on Diodario flat tops, for instance, or what we call flat wounds, and they'll cut down on string noise a lot. Or you could just love string noise. Some people love the sound of string noise, and I actually like it too. I think it's natural sounding, but if you want to cut down on your string noise, all these exercises are going to really help your playing. So these transient sounds do, after all, give the guitar a certain character, and that's not necessarily a bad thing. I'm Ron Jackson with acoustic guitar, and I hope you enjoyed this basics lesson on string noise. Have a great day. Thank you. I'll leave you with this one.